Implementing payments in your app can be very challenging, but it does not have to be difficult. It can be made in a few minutes with a basic understanding of JavaScript, Node.js, and React. This tutorial covers a full stack checkout page with Node.js as a backend. Let's see how to make a simple checkout page for selling a digital product step by step. You can find the project code in the Github Repo link below. Firstly, as we utilize Stripe, it is needed to create an account on their platform. After the creation of an account, you will be redirected to the dashboard. Navigate to the developers section and get API keys. You'll need both the publishable key and the secret key. Keep the secret key confidential and only use it on the server side. We will code the app in the test mode so that the real money will not be charged, and it will be possible to easily test payments. Let's create a React app with Vite to have a better performance. Then use the terminal to change the directory, install dependencies, and run an app. In the next steps, I will show you how to use React.stripe.js from official Stripe docs. We should process the installation of the needed packages as shown on the screen. The next steps are cleaning the app.js file and inserting the React router DOM routes for the success page and home page. The success page will be displayed after successful payment. Let's start with adding a new component folder and files for the checkout form and success page. I will start with creating the success page, cause we do not need the backend configured for this. Success page is pretty simple, just a header with thanks and a link to the home page. Let's go through the process of setting the backend side. In the project directory, we need to create a new folder for the backend. Outside the frontend part, then the Node app is initialized and installed needed dependencies. Inside the backend, it is needed to create a server.js file and .env file for environmental variable, Stripe secret key. We can now create a server.js file. In this file, we initialize the standard Express app and import dependencies. Then the Node Stripe library is initialized with the secret key. As this app sells only one product, I simplified it by declaring the price variable in the backend set to $20. Then the middleware is set up and we continue with declaring the function to calculate the order amount. It is made in a backend to avoid some hacks on the front end. In the end, there is defined an endpoint for creating payment. It sets the amount of order, currency, and other options. The endpoint returns the client's secret to the front end to continue payment. The last line of code starts the server at port 4242. We can now run the backend by command node server.js. Let's go back to the app.js file and define the price of the product so that it can be displayed in the UI. Then call loadStripe with a publishable key to configure the Stripe library. We can make below a home component which will immediately make a request to the endpoint in the server to create a new payment intent and get the client secret. Make sure you will change the URL in the production. Then we can add some options to pass to the elements provider, such as theme and client secret returned from the endpoint. The last part of the home component is rendering basic UI and the checkout form. Right now, we should create a checkout form. Let's start with importing Stripe dependencies and hooks. Access the Stripe library in your checkout form component by using the use Stripe and use elements hooks. Then we should initialize some states to keep track of the payment, show errors, and manage UI. Then create useEffect hook. This effect runs when the component mounts and anytime the Stripe object changes. Its primary role is to check if the Stripe library has loaded, if.stripe, and to handle the payment intent status if a payment intent client secret is present in the URL. It retrieves the payment intent using Stripe retrieve payment intent and updates the message state based on the payment intent status. Then the handle submit function is made. This function is triggered when the form is submitted. It prevents the default form submission behavior from handling the payment confirmation process programmatically. It checks if the Stripe and elements objects are loaded. If not, it exits the function to prevent errors. Sets is loading to true to indicate the payment process has started. It calls Stripe to confirm payment with the necessary parameters, including the element's instance and a return URL, where the user should be redirected after the payment process. Also, it handles errors that might occur during the payment confirmation. If an error occurs, it sets the message state to the error message. Otherwise, it handles unexpected errors by setting a generic error message. In the end, it sets is loading to false after the operation, indicating the process has been completed. Then, the payment element option is set to have a tabs layout. The checkout form returns the basic form with payment element imported from Stripe. The button, which also shows the loading spinner and conditionally shows errors if occur. After running the front-end part with npm run dev, the home page shows the product and the payment form. Let's fill it with test data from Stripe, mainly type 42 everywhere, and click Pay Now. Payment is made successfully, and the Stripe dashboard shows it in the table. This tutorial does not cover production implementation. To achieve it, you should deploy backend and frontend. You can use my tutorial in the newsletter about deploying your own API on a VPS server. Would you like to see the full production-ready tutorial? Drop a comment below. Do you want to become a modern developer? Subscribe to my weekly newsletter and learn the newest tech. Till the next amazing tutorials, thank you for watching. Hope you like it.